Roll4Crit.com presents How to Play Dungeons & Dragons in 5 minutes or less or more. Dungeons & Dragons is the classic role-playing game of fantasy, camaraderie, and adventure. It's published by Wizards of the Coast. The 5th edition was designed by Mike Mearls and Jeremy Crawford, based on the original game by Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson, with additions and alterations over the years from many, many more. In Dungeons & Dragons, one person acts as the Dungeon Master, who guides you and your friends on a magical journey. He or she will tell you what your situation is, and then you basically just tell them whatever you want to do, and you do it. That's it. But if you were looking for a little more structure than that, D&D actually revolves around dice rolls, primarily in the form of ability checks. Your character will have various stats relating to any number of actions that you might want to take. When you attempt to take an action, you roll a 20-sided die, then add any bonuses you would get from your stats, such as strength, dexterity, or intelligence. Depending on the result, you'll either carry the action out successfully or not so successfully. For example, you might see a dog and decide you want to become its friend. If you rolled a 10 and had a +3 animal handling bonus, you might succeed, or not. It depends on what your Dungeon Master says. If you roll a 20, that's known as a critical hit. That's really good. If you roll a 1, that's known as a critical miss. That's really bad. Wait a minute. Roll crit. That's the name of our site. That's where it comes from. D&D is a game of the imagination, so it takes place entirely in your mind, but also on intricately detailed and accurate grids and maps. If you want. The Dungeon Master can draw things out for everybody, or just describe them to the group if they're lazy and disrespectful. Sometimes you'll find yourself in combat. In combat, first, each player rolls for initiative, as do the enemies, to determine turn order. It's turn-based combat, just like those Japanese RPGs you like so much. On your turn, you can move up to your speed, then take one action. Usually, you'll attack. Choose which of your weapons to attack with, then roll to see if you hit the enemy, adding strength bonus if it's a melee weapon, or dexterity bonus if it's a ranged weapon. Every character in the game has an armor class, which determines how difficult they are to hit. If your roll meets or exceeds that number, you hit it, and then you get to roll for damage. Damage rolls are different depending on the weapon that you use. When you chip away all the health points of a given enemy, they're dead and you win. If you're a spellcaster, you can also cast spells. You'll have a certain number of spell slots allotted to you in which you can learn to do things like throw fireballs or turn invisible. If you lose health, that's bad. You can heal by taking long or short rests, but if your health goes below 0, you're dead. I mean, you get to make a bunch of saving throws first, and there's always resurrection spells, but, essentially, you're dead. After defeating a monster or completing a quest, you'll usually gain experience points. If you get enough experience points, you can level up. It's just like those Western RPGs you like so much. But again, you don't have to fight. You could try to reason with a goblin, or pay off an evil wizard to look the other way. You can do whatever you want. There's lots more to the game of D&D, all kinds of items, weapons, armor, and treasure that you can find or buy, colorful characters that you can talk to, befriend, or kill. The world is your 20-sided oyster. In conclusion, if you're playing D&D as an adventurer character, don't sweat it. Just make stuff up, do whatever you want, and let the DM worry about all the rules. If you are the DM, then good luck! That's Dungeons & Dragons in a nutshell. Did you get all that?